these gentlemen are Green Berets.
Right.
There are 4 of them, and they are about to row 3,000 miles across the ocean. They need to be mentally, physically, emotionally strong and resilient.
We're going to be giving them BrainTap. We're going to help them get their mental resilience. We call it prehab. We learned that from the TB12 guys. And I think that's a great way to do it because you got to prepare yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally, and really not for the actual journey, but for the problems.
For them, it's keeping them mentally equipped when they're tired, when the waves are big, when their muscles are breaking down. It's not day 1 I'm worried about. I'm not worried about the 2nd wind, the 3rd wind. I'm worried about the 8th wind.
Right.
And what I was worried about was, how do I get them the 8th wind? And then I met you and I was like, BrainTap is the 8th wind.
Hey, BrainTap Nation. Welcome back. We're here at the Biohacking Conference 2023, David Asprey's event. It's one of our favorite events. We get to meet such special people, incredible people. And I've been running into you off and on throughout the whole convention. And you told me about a project that BrainTap is 100% behind, is helping our vets. And there's this program they have, right, that you're talking about. So I want you to tell a little bit about yourself and what you're doing, because you work with extreme athletes and all phases, but now you're taking on working with the vets.
Correct.
So tell us a little bit about that. Tell us about yourself, what you do, and then also tell us about the project.
So I'm a sports chiropractor by trade, but I also do functional neurology and functional medicine, focusing on potential and what people are capable of achieving. So I've been the medical director for a number of different events, but in particular, I work with people who are going to be in MLB, MLS, who are going to go to the Olympics, just high performance. I like the people who like to push the limits. So your heavy wave surfers, your ex-gamers. And this particular project is really close to me. It's called Fight or Die. So OAR, because they're actually using an OR. And these gentlemen are Green Berets.
Right.
There are 4 of them, and they are about to row 3,000 miles across the ocean, starting from the Canary Islands and ending in Antigua. And my concern is making sure they're in a 4-person rowboat, Doc. So they need to be mentally, physically, emotionally strong and resilient. And ironically, the name of their boat is Resilience. So they've asked me to come in to help them with their mental preparation and their physical preparation for this.
Right. So we're going to be giving them BrainTap. We're going to help them get their mental resilience. We call it prehab. We learned that from the TB12 guys. And I think that's a great way to do it because you got to prepare yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally, and really not for the actual journey, but for the problems. You can count on there's going to be something that happens, right? There's some kind of problem. So what do you see with these elite athletes? What's their blind spot really that you got to show them so that they can prepare for it?
The biggest thing is making sure that they've had enough training ahead of time so that when they get scared when something doesn't go right, that their neural connections go back to something that is beneficial for them instead of an old story that's going to wreck them.
Right.
Because most of it is just mental for them. So, for example, if they have a bad routine, how do we get you back really quickly so your next routine is very good?
Right.
And also, you're also in danger. If you get scared and you miss the trampoline, well, now you've just fallen 30 feet from the sky onto cement. And that has happened before.
Oh, wow.
So there's that. There's also the vestibular system. If they get scored on 3 things: distance traveled, flight time, and skill level. Distance traveled from the center of a trampoline. So if they're off by even an inch, they lose a point for every distance that they travel. So if their vestibular system is good with something like BrainTap, then they land better. With my vets in particular, they're in a 4-man rowboat by themselves where only one sleeps at a time for a prolonged period of time. It's not a large space, and these are very large gentlemen. So for them, it's keeping them mentally equipped when they're tired, when the waves are big, when their muscles are breaking down. It's not day 1 I'm worried about. I'm not worried about the 2nd wind, the 3rd wind. I'm worried about the 8th wind.
Right.
And what I was worried about was, how do I get them the 8th wind? And then I met you and I was like, BrainTap is the 8th wind. When everything else breaks down, they will have that programming.
I love that. So as you work with people, we want to support this effort, right? And so how can we support it as a community at BrainTap? What can we do for you and the team?
Well, the fact that you're being incredibly generous and giving my 4 athletes BrainTap so that they are prehabbed, ready to go, neurally wired for whatever is thrown at them, that's the greatest gift you can give them.
Right.
For other people who want to help them out, They need financial support. They need just people sending them an email, or even if you shoot a little video that says, "We believe in you, you can do this," so that when things get tough, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So if they have you pictured in their head, you've helped them cross the Atlantic. You've empowered them to do something. So feeling that energy from everywhere, supporting them, whether it's financially, through BrainTap, through your amazing audience, sending them words of affirmation or anything, it all is going to help them cross every stroke of an oar.
Right. Is there a way we can watch the journey, or are we just going to find out after it's done that they've made it, and how long will that journey take?
You know, that is a really good question that I don't know the answer to yet. When we go to fightordie.com, I'm going to find out that for sure.
Right. So we're going to put everything we can in the show notes here to let you know what's happening. I recommend that you help our vets out. The reason we have the life that we have here in America is because people like these 4 men that actually have given their life to support our country and give us all the good things that we have while we're at home watching television, eating Cheetos on the couch. They were out there risking their lives, doing their work. So if you're so called, then like she said, send them a message of encouragement. If you want to help fund the adventure, then please do that, because they're doing this to show that there's resilience. And we all know right now, more than ever, we all need to build up that resilience. They're just willing to put their life on the line, really, because, and when you think of a four-man rowboat, when you see the picture, it's not like they're gonna go out like the old man in the sea, you know, on a little rowboat and go fish for marlin. You know, it's an adventure, and it's a long journey. They're gonna become more like Vikings here. You know, when you think circumnavigating the globe, really, going back in time and doing this thing. So let's support them. So what do you wanna end, what do you wanna end with BrainTap Nation, so they understand this is a meaningful journey, and that it's something willing to support, because this is just basically a metaphor. If you're not in the journey, it can be a metaphor for you facing your challenges and overcoming them. They're just willing to do it physically. I mean, they're willing to put their life on the line for something they believe in.
Well, I think the most important thing is that why are they doing it? They're doing it to raise awareness for PTSD and all the things that veterans have gone through. They don't want to be forgotten. So if you remember nothing else besides their 4 names, Joe, Guy, Craig, and Dave, there's great power in knowing someone's name, knowing they're not forgotten, because every single one of us is going to have trauma. And whether it's a physical trauma or an emotional trauma, we all need support. And I'll tell you the craziest thing I learned, and why I'm so obsessed with BrainTap, is what we learn in functional neurology, is that if you get a concussion to the head, the blood-brain barrier opens up in as little as 3 minutes. The gut barrier opens up within 3 to 5 minutes. That wasn't the part that scared me. The part that scared me was when they said emotional trauma does the same exact thing. So there's not one of us who's gone without either some kind of concussive force or some kind of emotional trauma through life. So if this is a tool that people can use in their comfort of their own home and support other people and not be forgotten, it's extremely powerful, and I'm so grateful to you.
Yeah, well, we're here to support. Our mission is to better 1 billion brains, and of course the veterans' brains. We're doing research right now in California. We've done research at Fort Hood in New York. We're doing research we did a psilocybin study for PTSD with Dr. Rosenthal in Dallas. So we want to keep, there are ways. The brain is neuroplastic, which means we can change it. We just have to give them the right stimulus, the right nutrients, and give them the right environment. So if we all work together, they need the help. Right? And the problem is that they're not getting it through their systems right now that they have. They're doing what they can, but they just don't have the systems to deal with the PTSD that's all the vets we have now. I mean, when you think about our veterans, it used to be you'd go to a war 1 time maybe, you'd get home, you're done. These guys are going back 2 and 3 times, sometimes even 4 times back into the theater of war. Then they got to come back and live their life, right? So we need to teach them to regulate back to, let's say, real time, real space. Like you're saying, the new reality for them is to understand that they have the capacity, the resilience, and there's a support mechanism for them. They need to feel your support. So
there's one other secret though,
Okay.
I didn't tell you.
Oh.
So we're supporting these male warriors, but I did BrainTap the other day. And it balanced out my hormonal system. So I feel like you're also supporting the female warriors.
Yes.
And I just couldn't believe how relaxed I felt for the rest of the day, how calm, and I did a pre and post scan. So it's nice when you can share something that you know works for you. and I can share it so that my brothers going across the ocean have the same thing.
That's right. Yep. We know that the brain is basically the control center of the whole physiology. So if we can get their physiology right, which they're getting in shape physically, now we can get their psychology right. When those two are together, we have this synergizing effect of power and influence. So we want to make sure that's a healthy influence. So thanks for coming on and telling me about this, and we love supporting the vets. And we look forward to you making that adventure happen. And they're going to have some fun there when they do it. So thanks very much. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you so much.